So thank you all so much for coming this evening. Really appreciate your time and your presence and navigating all the challenges to get here to celebrate and showcase the startups and entrepreneurs that have put a lot of time and effort over the last 5 months and made a lot of great progress in our third cohort of the StartBlue Accelerator program. My name is Vanessa Scott, and I'm the director of StartBlue, and I also lead industry relations and innovation here at Scripps Institution Oceanography, UC San Diego. So StartBlue was born during COVID, and in 2021, we launched the first cohort. Now we're finishing up the third cohort, and the Accelerator program is run in partnership by Rady School of Management and Scripps Institution of Oceanography, supporting early stage ocean and climate technology startups. To date, StartBlue has supported 22 startups, half of which have been founded by underrepresented founders, and they've raised collectively $10.1 million throughout their time in the program. We have been supporting startups across the blue economy sectors. Here's just a sample of a few of the different sectors that we've supported, all supporting the UN Sustainable Development Goal 14, Life Below Water, which is hidden behind my face. Over the past 5 months since January, our entrepreneurs have spent lots of time and effort connecting into the regional blue economy innovation ecosystem, spending 7 weeks doing a ocean entrepreneurship bootcamp led by our Rady School of Management instructor, John York, going through all the NSFI core curriculum, the Lean Launch Canvas model, talking to customers and customer discovery, and then also paired with ocean expert lectures by Paula Silvia here from the Port of San Diego. A lot of our partners you can see listed here. We have over 80 program partners that we've connected our entrepreneurs in with to meet with potential customers and partners and participate in different conferences and networking events to help them build their networks and introductions to investors. We've also given them access to technology development resources here at Scripps, including our makerspace, where they can continue to work on their prototypes and develop their technology throughout the program. We've paired them with teams of industry mentors, many of which are here tonight, and we really thank you for your time and effort. You are a huge value to our program, and they've met with them weekly, working through their objectives and key results to make sure that they're moving forward with their goals throughout the program. And finally, we gave them opportunities to raise money throughout the program, including pitch competitions like the Triton Innovation Challenge, grant opportunities like SBIRs, and also introductions to investors. So we have a small but mighty staff team who I want to recognize and thank for their time and effort here. Karen Jensen, my counterpart here at Rady School of Management, who has spent almost a decade as an entrepreneurship advocate, supporting entrepreneurs throughout the StartR Accelerator program series. Cannon Purdy, Cannon, where are you? Somewhere in the back. She's our innovation liaison and works diligently to connect our entrepreneurs with all the innovation ecosystem across campus at UC San Diego and across the region. Chris Ward, who's over here, our executive in residence, who leads the mentorship program. John York, I don't think they could make it tonight, but he is our Rady School instructor for the boot camp. And Mariah Avila, should she be here somewhere? I know she was leading the registration team table. She's our graduate student fellow here at Scripps and leads our outreach and communications. We would like to thank all of our supporters, some of which are here in the audience today. We really appreciate your support and could not run this program without it, and look forward to continued collaboration. Like to thank our program advisors. Without their expertise, their depth and breadth of experience has informed the program design and also the cohort selection. And finally, we would like, and all the mentors that are here tonight, can you please stand up? We'd like to give you a round of applause and for all the countless hours you volunteered. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. We're the backbone and foundation of this program, so thank you. And with that, I would like to introduce Scripps Oceanography Director, Dr. Margaret Lyman, who's also the Vice Chancellor for Marine Sciences. Thank you, Margaret.
Thanks, Vanessa, and welcome everybody. The sun decided to cooperate. I wish we could say it was always like this at Scripps. San Diego is really an exceptional place to start and grow a startup. It is really a unique environment. And I've had the opportunity to visit several other places where there are blue tech clusters. And when I look at what's here in San Diego, it really stands out. There's not only the robust science and technology expertise that's here, but we have an established blue tech cluster that has been one that has shown leadership around the world in marshaling the interest in blue tech clusters. We have a large and active port, and thanks to the Port of San Diego for all of your support. A large and active military, not only the base, but the advisors, SDMAC, and others that really connect the community with the military. A diverse workforce, an international border that really stirs the mix in San Diego and contributes in an amazing way to this community, and a wealth of ocean research, leadership, and assets. It's a perfect environment. And I think that that's reflected also in the statistics that we saw from the last San Diego Maritime Industry Report. This was 2022, 114,000 individuals, over 4,300 companies producing 16.2 billion of direct sales. And that's the sort of the engine of this incredible ecosystem that all of you are working to become an important part of. So the strength of this alliance really comes from some of the official kinds of glue that hold it together. Certainly the Port of San Diego, its Blue Economy Incubator, TMA Blue Tech and its Blue Tech Incubator Space, the U.S. Coast Guard Blue Tech Center of Excellence, NIWC Pacific, NOAA through Sea Grant, as you saw highlighted here, and then academic and research leaders, whether those are on the ocean side, whether they're on the engineering side, or whether they're on the enterprise and business side. This long history of innovation and entrepreneurship from all of those pieces comes together and really allows efforts like StartBlue to thrive in this space. Scripps itself has pioneered ocean observations and data intelligence solutions for many decades. Examples that are known around the world are the Argo autonomous floats that provide daily profiles of the upper 2,000 meters of the world's ocean that have generated not just 4,000 or 5,000 publications, but new that really contribute to our ability to understand what's going on around us, and which have spun off their own technology startups that derive from that expertise. Another example is the leadership on maritime decarbonization. Scripps will, in the next couple of years, build the first hydrogen hybrid zero-emission research vessel. And as we have done the planning for that, we've seen how many business opportunities there are there. California alone has over 360 vessels that are considered coastal harbor craft, all of which will eventually have to become zero-emission vessels under CARB. And as we looked at what's necessary there, there's going to be a whole new huge opportunity for this field. On the human health side, SIO scientists have led breakthrough innovations in new drugs. We are in third stage clinical trials for Merizabib, which is now, it is a drug that actually goes beyond or through the blood-brain barrier. It's based on a marine bacterium for glioblastoma. And even in stage 2 clinical trials, they've had a couple of cures here in California. So whether it's health, whether it's technology, whether it's startups that really capitalize on being service businesses, all of these make a rich ecosystem here. And StartBlue has already shown great promise in that. And Vanessa gave you the terrific statistics for the StartBlue group. The network has grown to include over 100 mentors and 80 partners worldwide. And it's gained national reputation. Senator Padilla from California recognized the program in his Senate Budget Committee hearing this January and commenting on the way that this develops ocean blue tech businesses, mentorship, and access to capital. To build on that success, StartBlue has been awarded the Phase 1 grant from the NOAA Ocean-Based Climate Resilience Accelerator Initiative and is currently designing the expansion to apply for the Phase 2 opportunity. So tonight, you're going to hear from startups whose technologies and solutions span all of these areas. We're all looking forward to hearing from you. You have already gained a lot of accolades and investments as a result of your hard work. And we're also thrilled that PhD candidate Allison Cusick won the first ever UC San Diego Chancellor's Innovation Award for her work on phytofluid. I did that backwards, fjord phyto. And you're going to hear about that as well. So it's such a pleasure to welcome you all to help us celebrate the success of this great group of startups. So with that, Vanessa, back to you.
Thank you, Margaret. And next, we're going to hear some opening remarks from Dean Lisa Ordonez from the Rady School of Management. Thank you.
Wonderful. We're pleased that you're all here today to celebrate these amazing teams in this third cohort of StartBlue. This event is a culmination of 5 months of very hard work and from these 7 teams. And we'll hear about their successes, and they would not be possible without the dedication of the mentors and our StartBlue staff. So I want to thank all of you, and you saw some of their pictures. Again, this is a collaboration on UC San Diego campus that brings together our 2 sector leaders, our Rady School of Management, which we're ranked 2nd in entrepreneurship on the Bloomberg Business Week Best Business Schools, and Scripps Institution of Oceanography, which is, of course, a renowned global leader in oceanographic sciences. Our cohort participants benefit from our Rady business acumen and entrepreneurial expertise, and the access to Scripps oceanographic expertise and facilities. And they can all do it with a beautiful view. So the success is evident in the results from many of our campus environmentally focused business plan competition. You heard a little bit about some of the things that they've done, but the Triton Innovation Challenge this year, 4 of the 6 finalists were current or past participants in StartBlue, and including the grand prize winner, Greenwater Scientific. And this marks the 2nd time in 3 years that the winner of the Triton Innovation Challenge came out of StartBlue. So this is already showing great success. And new to our StartBlue program, this year was an invitation for applicants working on technologies aligning with California climate adaptation strategy as an initiative of UC San Diego's Office of Innovation and Commercialization. And part of this included awards from the California CARES grants to support the translation research into market and policy impact. 8 of the awards given, 3 went to StartBlue participants, including Cohort 3 team, Wild Genomics. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to introduce our MC for tonight, Marianne Beister, She is the managing director of the Beiser Foundation for Enterprise Development that supports applied research, education, and place-based initiatives that advance entrepreneurship, employee ownership and participation, and community building. Marianne is a founding sponsor and member of the StartBlue Advisory Committee, a member of Scripps Institution of Oceanography Directors Council. She is a member of Blue Angels Invest, she's very busy, in Investable Oceans, and supports solutions for health, sustainable, and just ocean systems. A particular focus has been advancing seaweed research, education, and new herbarium at SIO, as well as international regenerative aquaculture. An advocate for digital storytelling, she is a public media national award-winning producer of documentary films, an advisor to Wealth Untold, a soon-to-be-released film set in Belize about a women-led ocean conservation, and an executive producer for a community-narrated 360 series Nuestro Oceano in the Gulf of California. So with that, I'd like to introduce Marianne Beiser.
Thanks, Dean Ordonez. Well, I try to be entrepreneurial, so I had a little pitch in there for a film that's coming out and one that's out. These will be free and available for you all to see. It's a real pleasure to be here. I was involved with StartR in the beginning and early days of the Rady School, and to see the fusion with SIO is fantastic, and to see the advancement of StartBlue is really impressive. So are we good? Oh, we don't need, wow, that's a big face. Okay. I like the earlier one you had. That was like a 10-year-old photo. Let's bring that one up. I have the honor today to facilitate and moderate the company presentations. We're going to have 8 presentations. They're all going to be 5 minutes. And we're going to start with a 5-minute presentation from an alumni of the StartBlue. It's from the Cohort 1. And this will hear an update of what's been going on. So let's have a warm and enthusiastic welcome for Fish Sense.
Cool. Thank you so much for that. It's wonderful to be here, kind of standing in front of you guys, be able to give an update on our progress. So we were semifinalists at the Trine Innovation Challenge, and have also been awardees of California Cares. So very much we've been kind of continuing our efforts. And today I'm going to talk to you about kind of the advances in our technologies. So as we begin, I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Christopher. I am a PhD student working with Bryce Simmons and Ryan Kastner. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Fish Sense. So 3 million people worldwide depend on fish as a primary source of protein. This is something that's very vital for many countries worldwide. But many of these fishery stocks that these countries depend on, and primarily countries that are maybe not as well off, depend on or overconsumed. And we don't really have a good way to kind of address that overconsumption, nor do we even have a good way to measure that overconsumption. And Fish Sense was a project born out of trying to do assessments for that. So this provides us with an opportunity for fisheries management and an opportunity for aquaculture to be able to supply them with data and technology to be able to save them money and to be able to better assess their stock. So the way that we do that today is by doing catch and release programs. These catch and release programs are very invasive, very dangerous to the fish. They often die, so not good if you're trying to manage your fish stock. It's not very good to kill them. So instead, we're going to aim at using a wide amount of science that's available and leverage citizen science to be able to collect data, to be able to either supplement or maybe even supersede these existing catch and release programs. And we're going to do that with a small dive camera. So this small dive camera came out of previous development. Those of you familiar with our work from the previous StartBlue cohort probably is familiar with this device. So was this big and weighed like 15 pounds and was very heavy and didn't work very well. It was great. It was a great tech demo, but it's cost about $3,000 and was not satisfactory for it to be able to put into hands of our assistant science divers. So instead, we've developed a technology called a kind of an evolution of that technology. This camera based off of a single lens rigidly attached to a normal dive camera. This provides the fisheries fisheries and aquaculture with the best possible opportunity to have access to our hardware. All of this is off-the-shelf components mixed with a 3D printed mount. So you can see the 3D printed mount attached to the laser, and that kind of allows us to be able to measure fish. Well, so those of you who are familiar with this, you might have seen like dual laser pairs. Maybe you're wondering, how can you measure a fish with a laser? Well, turns out that taking a picture like this is enough. If you take a picture and you detect that laser position, you can then do some fish segmentation to find where the fish is. So this gives us some idea of about the size of the fish within the image. And then you can use that to find the head and tail points of this fish and match out with the laser to determine that this fish is 0.5 meter away and 24 centimeters long. But we start all of this saying, hey, we have interest in catch and release. That you might be saying, well, catch and release is still much easier than something like this. Maybe I don't care that it's invasive, but maybe in some cases that's fine. So we've also worked on developing technologies to be able to improve catch and release. So this is a mobile phone app that runs on an iPhone that you can use to take a picture of a fish and measure it. No more putting this down on a length board. And ideally, you can reduce the amount of time out of water. Where, as I kind of already alluded to, we're targeting kind of aquaculture and fisheries. This might be government agencies who are interested, or it might just be private entities who are interested in this. Companies like Pacifico Aquaculture and Baja have been a previous partner for us, and we have leveraged that relationship that we've gone out of StartBlue. So as far as getting these cameras into hands of divers, there are over 500,000 core divers just in the US. These are divers that take more than 8 dives a year, and many of these people are interested in doing basically fish watching. So cameras into the hands of these will provide a robust data set that can then be sold to those who are interested in fishery management. Aquaculture is kind of a bigger one. Basically aquaculture has overtaken ocean fisheries as primary food sources. So basically got 2 paths to scale, both from the citizen science path up and government interest down. I'd like to thank the team, like to thank my team member here in the audience as well, and everyone else who couldn't be here with us. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
We're gonna, you'll be available afterwards for questions, right? Okay. So we're gonna move on now to the members of the cohort number 3. We have 7 presentations. Again, each will be 5 minutes, and then we're gonna have 5 minutes Q&A. And you notice there's gonna be mics. And so I think we're just gonna wanna have people go right to the mics versus raise their hand. Is that what we're planning to do? Okay. Don't be shy, do that. And that's way everybody can hear your question. And I'm really excited about this. I think everyone needs to pay attention because we have 2 or 3 questions we can field after every presentation. And I have seen a sneak preview of some of these presentations, and you're in for a ride. You're in for an absolute treat. You're going to hear about how some companies are capturing energy out of the oceans. You're going to hear about how to collect data more efficiently and effectively under, on, and above the ocean and on the land. However, how those data are going to be more accessible. And you're going to hear about ocean solutions that will improve even what we breathe and what we drink. So get ready, pay attention, and get your questions ready. And then after all the presentations, you'll be able to vote on your favorite team. So the first cohort number 3 presentation team we'll have is Blue Lotus Energy. Please have a warm welcome to Blue Lotus.
Oh my gosh, you're all naked. So we are Blue Lotus Energy. We make portable and affordable wave energy converters. So what's the problem? The problem is the ocean is an energy desert. Operating at sea often means limited access to sustainable and reliable power. Solar power has its own limitations, whether that be things like cloud cover or even things like bird poop. The obvious answer to providing power at sea would be wave energy, but existing wave energy solutions cost millions of dollars to build and install and hundreds of thousands of dollars to maintain. So what does being powerless at sea look like? This is actually a story from just last month where a group of fishermen's ship ran ashore, and without backup power, they were unable to call for help. Luckily, they were able to build this help sign out of palm leaves and were eventually rescued by the Coast Guard. We like to think that with our solution, they could have powered their communications and expedited their rescue. This obviously is not the first time this has happened and likely won't be the last time this has happened, but I hope to be able to help. So what's our solution look like? Our solution is a portable wave energy converter. It's designed for simplicity and robustness in the multi-watt power range. It's easy to manufacture, easy to maintain. Our device is easy to deploy and easy to integrate and can actually be handled by one person. Our business model will be selling directly online to customers. We'll start with B2C, where we'll sell to personal watercraft and people who have sea drones. We'll move into government and research, whether that be ocean observation, coastal buoys, things like that. And then once we reach sufficient scale and market fit, we hope to enter the grid scale power generation market. The total wave energy addressable market is valued at 1 billion currently, expected to reach over 5 billion by 2033. That's to say nothing of all of the smaller industries that could potentially be entered with our technology. Let's talk a little bit about our competitor landscape. We have affordability and ease of installation on these axes. We have ocean power technology and core power ocean. We believe that our device is much more affordable and easier to install. That's not to say that we produce the same amount of power, but our device is quite a bit smaller. OPTs being about the size of a Mack truck, core powers being over 6 stories tall. So put that in perspective, ours can fit in the backseat of your car or in our smallest device, even in a backpack. Our go-to-market strategy will achieve market entry by attending trade shows and industry conferences. Marketing will be things like search engine optimization, social media, etc. Once we're big enough, we'll have a sales team to better get the word out there. Oh. So who are we? I'm Rady Malco. I'm the CEO and founder. I'm an inventor and an entrepreneur. I actually grew up on a zoo, so sustainability and conservation is really important to me, and I'm able to better live that mission through this company. I'm joined by Dr. Casey Schultz, our CSO, who's a physicist and data scientist, background at Intuit and NASA, and an avid surfer who's been personally harvesting the waves for some time now. Traction, I could talk about paper mache models in my apartment's pool, but we'll start with our progress last year where we had our first open ocean test. Later that same year, we filed our patent. We actually received an NSF I-Corps grant, followed by, we actually won a prize from the Department of Energy for our novel technology. And then most recently, we're here with the amazing StartBlue accelerator with a pilot project with the AirC Interaction Laboratory, hopefully any day now. We're looking to grow our board of advisors to expand our industry knowledge with partnerships and better get connected in this space. For funding, we're seeking 1 million to scale our manufacturing to meet anticipated demands, continue our R&D, and enhance our marketing efforts. If you hurry, maybe you can get a picture of that. Otherwise, I'll be out there later. Special thanks to StartBlue for the amazing program. You just heard a lot about it, and all of that's true and more. Special thanks to our mentors, Albert Liu and Brock Rosenthal, as well as Vanessa, Tom, Karen, Cannon, Dr. York, etc. It's really takes a village, and they champion this cause, not just here, but everywhere they go. So we're super thankful, and yeah. I'm open to questions.
You indicated that it's not as much, how much can you,
That's a great question. Essentially, to put it into perspective, waves aren't all the time. They're one wave, then the next wave, then the next wave. So we're creating surges in the refrigerator scale, so in the hundreds of watts range, and then smoothing that out, that's in the tens to single watts continuous power range. It's a modular system, so you can link multiple units together. You know, 2 devices is twice as much energy, and so on. So multi-watt generation per device.
I saw your device out there, it's super small. A lot of different applications for it, but we're getting the most traction right now. How are you addressing that?
Well, it's a lot easier to meet people with personal crafts than it is to have someone let you play with their submarine. But yeah, our biggest traction would be commercial crafts. So if you have a sailboat, our device can stow below deck, and as your ship rocks around, you can generate power to your battery bank, you know, run your refrigerator at night, electric stove, and so on. You know, call for help, things like that. Good question.
Hey, Rowdy. Thank you for the presentation. For those of us who don't know, like, what a watt is and how much actually power, so if you say you have like power sailboat, you have 100 units, like, how much will that mean? If you said a refrigerator, like, so is that what it powers the refrigerator, or can it power the flow with lighting and other appliances?
Yeah, truth be told, I'm an international business background, but I'm learning a lot about the electrical space myself. It's a little difficult to explain exactly what a watt is, but if you think about it, the refrigerators and your air conditioner is basically the biggest draw in your house. So I use that as an example because it's such an enormous amount of electricity. Hundreds of times smaller, you can power modern day lights and it's like that. So excellent question.
So if I got one, what can I power? What can it power exactly on board if I could say?
All of your devices, so long as you're charging up your battery bank first. It's not so much that it funnels into the devices directly as it does to trickle charge your bank. Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, please welcome our next team is Coastal Carbon.
So like 2 years ago, I wanted to grow seaweed, to use it to pull carbon out of the atmosphere and help fight climate change and restore the ocean at the same time. And I found out quickly that no one would believe me that I'd done this. I actually needed someone to confirm that I had done what I've said what I've done, which seemed reasonable. And then I ran into a really big problem, which that measuring underwater biomass is really hard. So the quote that I got for measuring 1 hectare's worth of seaweed and its carbon sequestered was 200 grand a hectare a year. And that's because they're either using manual divers or they're dragging bathymetric LiDAR or sonar beyond or past my farm to do that and quantify the biomass. That means a couple of things. Number one, that was like greater than my margins on the seaweeds. That was a non-starter. But number two was that people do this so infrequently that the measurements they get are so temporally spaced out, they're inaccurate because you don't know what's happening in between. That makes it also hard to interpret your data. And that means not only for seaweed-based carbon sequestration, but for a whole host of types of ecosystems, we have almost no data on how they operate. If we're going to enable the almost $500 billion ocean carbon industry, nature-based ocean carbon industry, we need a measurement technique that can scale to the 2.5 million kilometers of coastline able to be restored. To do this, my co-founder and I started Coastal Carbon. We're making AI models that can see underwater from space, making the invisible visible and helping us measure and quantify underwater ecosystems. We're doing this starting with seaweed. If that changes, we're doing this starting with seaweed. What we're doing right now is we're finding seaweed farmers, measuring their farm, and giving them the measurements they need to take and sell their carbon credits in the market, getting paid for the ecosystem benefit they provide. At the same time, we give that information back to them so that they can run their farms better, lower their cost of operations, and increase their yields. We've done this in 11 sites so far, and have managed to pull in 3.25 million in pre-launch sales from that point. And that's feeding into the almost $2 billion seaweed carbon market alone. But we have larger ambitions and our models can do more. So we're going after the $90 billion ocean nature-based carbon sequestration market. And that's just for the measurement on that market. But we can actually measure things other than ecosystems. We can look at how bottoms are changing. We can look at how man-made objects drift and decay. And that leads us into the both $25 million market for measuring defense and man-made objects underwater, and the $20 billion market for coastal parametric insurance. So as I mentioned before, I failed at being a seaweed farmer. Before that, I built AI-enabled sensors at places like Harvard and Xerox. My co-founder, Kelly, is the really star of the show. She spent 4 years developing the AI models necessary to make this happen. We're joined by 4 other nerds, all of which who have a graduate degree, helping us build state-of-the-art models to enable ocean measurement at scale. So we started StartBlue, and the first thing they did is match us with 3 amazing mentors. Robert, Guy, and Mike have been absolutely fantastic, both bringing a whole host of business knowledge, Guy having deep domain expertise working at Esri, and Mike being a fantastic entrepreneur himself, but also like really motivating. He would like send me emails after the meetings being like, great meeting, like here's a link to the thing you did, like you're so good, see you next week. And that was really fantastic because it can be a lonely journey. They also facilitated great connections to the Port of San Diego, to other ports at Ignite 2020 or Ignite 22, which for some reason happened in 2024. Can't tell you that one. And other partners who are starting to use satellite data to manage their ecosystems. And finally, a huge thank you to Vanessa Scott, who has been truly the star of this program. I would show up at Vanessa's office, I'd give her a call and I'd be like, I've flown in, I'll be at your office in 10 minutes. I need connections to these 3 people. And the answer was always yes. So you've truly been an amazing source of support. If you are in this room and you are trying to use satellite data to measure things underwater, you're a machine learning engineer, or most importantly, you're an ecosystem carbon project or thinking about one. That is my email. It goes directly to me. Please reach out. I would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Right up here.
I stay here?
Yeah, yeah, you stay right here. Okay.
And what questions do we have? I have a question.
Yeah.
Wow. I just want to take you back to the seaweed world. I think it's probably a good idea you're not on the farming side, you're on the tech side.
Oh, yeah.
But you kind of said it's like done, and I'm just kind of curious. You've got temperate and tropical seaweeds.
Yeah.
Given your map. What's the difference in how that measurement, how does that impact your accuracy or?
Yeah. We started particularly with kelps from temperate waters. And that was because they're the highest carbon sequestering ecosystem and the thing that is farmed most at scale. There have been real advancements in the tropical seaweeds, excuse me, particularly ulva and capivicus, and they have shown sequestration rates that are not as high, but their growth loop can be under 3 weeks. We've seen people pull seed ulva and have it out in a week and a half. And that means that you can have really, really high throughput because kelps don't grow in the winter. So that's kind of the difference in on our northern and southern.
Planning to add seagrass.
Yeah, so we actually have a seagrass project and 2 mangrove projects that we're almost on contracting. As they become properly signed and sealed, I get to put them up there, but we're starting our first pilots now.
I was just wondering if you were moving into coral reefs and other areas of, because that's a whole new dimension of how to study
Yeah,
that violence.
we would love to.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I tell everyone this. Despite there's about $850 million spent on coral reef restoration a year. I have never found a person who has paid another person money for coral reef restoration. And so I don't quite know what the needs are. And so it's on our roadmap. It's something to dig into. And corals are really one of the most accessible ecosystems from remote measurement because they tend to be very close to the surface in very sunlit areas. And so if you are a person that has paid someone else for coral reef restoration, and if you are looking for satellite measurement, you know where to find me because we'd love to do that. We just have never found the right use case that aligns exactly with what's needed.
And just an additional question, to what depth are you able to
10
get your
meters.
data accurate?
10 meters.
Sorry.
10 meters.
10 meters.
Caveat on turbidity.
Sure.
Obviously, if you go to Tahiti, we can do like 35, but nothing's in Tahiti.
So this is based on floating. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
All right, our next team is George Fido. All right, let's give them a welcome. Okay. Can you hear us okay? Okay.
How's it going, guys?
Sorry. Okay. Oops. There we go. Okay. We are Fjord Fido, and we provide hands-on exploration into frontiers of the unknown, understanding the very foundation of life.
So we operate in the Antarctic ecosystem. This ecosystem is especially pivotal. The marine microorganisms or phytoplankton are involved with producing around 50% of Earth's oxygen while bringing in around 50% of the carbon dioxide that's produced. With the ocean circulation actively going through this region, it can be thought of as the ocean circulation or the air conditioning of the Earth. And then it is also one of the fastest forming regions of the Earth and very, very poorly understood. Hence why making conservation efforts is very, very important for understanding the actual available science to be able to better advertise that to policymakers.
And as you could imagine, it's difficult to work in Antarctica. There's a science resource gap, but there's an untapped resource. Over 60 ships go down with the expedition cruise industry. There is tourism in Antarctica, if you haven't already gone on a trip. And they're bringing upwards of 100,000 travelers each season. And when you think about the number of scientists that work in Antarctica, of all the nations, that's about 100 traveler to 1 scientist. These ships also travel globally, which can expand our monitoring efforts. So by partnering with the expedition ships and engaging travelers, data collection opportunities expand rapidly.
And this is our exact solution. Our solution is to partner with different operators that are actually going to be in this industry. And we're going to offer the different scientific partnerships that we have to the actual guests that are going to be on board. So it can range anything from a cruise that's going to be like this, which is going to be a sample collecting cruise, all the way through doing workshops actually on board and then engaging with us throughout different lectures and different type of opportunities like that.
We have over 7 years of proven success where we've covered with collaborations with the vessels, 37 sites along the Antarctic Peninsula. Over 500 sampling cruises have allowed us enough data to present at national and international conferences and do peer-reviewed publications, which is the currency of scientific speak. We have discovered 2 new species, but the point of this is that we're creating knowledge, we're making discoveries, and we're also providing life-changing experiences for the people who participate.
So what we're actively doing is we're demystifying science. We're producing all of the science that we're doing in that actual industry in a very digestible manner. We're also producing educational content coming both from Scripps as well as NASA with all of the ground truthing data that we do for their satellites. We've also been on 15 different vessels in the Antarctic ecosystem. We also accomplished 4 different SDG goals, which are Sustainability Development Goals that the UN has highlighted that they want to accomplish by 2030. And then we've also been in all of these publications that you can see at the bottom right as well.
Our team includes these passionate experts, which myself, the co-founder, Allison, Christian Johnson, and our colleague in Argentina, Martina Massioni. Actually, all of our PhD work comes from data because of this program.
And we currently have founded a lot of support. We are partnered with IATO as well as NASA. Viking most recently gave us some funding as well as the NASA Scope project. And then we were also able to accomplish the UCSD Chancellor's Innovation Award earlier this year as well. Oh, and we are currently on 11 out of the 100 operators, so about 10%, and then about 25% of the actual ships that are in the Antarctic ecosystem.
So you can imagine the global cruise industry is a large market, and we are focusing on the serviceable, attainable market of the expedition vessels that go to these high latitude polar regions. And that current market size is $800 million to $1 billion.
So currently, our revenue models are a bit limited to the grants at the moment, but we do see ourselves expanding. So we want to be able to take advantage of grants, also drive sponsorship from different investors, and then also continue to do educational workshops and public speaking events to be able to draw some revenue through that as well.
Our journey through StartBlue has really transformed the way we think about Fjord Fido, which started as an academic project. And in 2017, we had 2 vessels to try this. In 2021, with the NASA funding, we were able to expand to the 15 vessels. And in that time, also expand our outreach efforts and what we could do with the education and the findings. And this year, by starting with StartBlue and also seeing the Innovation Award from the Chancellor, was an incredible honor to be able to show that this social service really does have an impact. We are getting in front of as well this blue tech community, which we hadn't been a part of before. So that has been amazing to showcase this innovation at different events. And present day, we hope to continue pursuing entity status and thinking about how Fjord Fido operates not just in the academic model, but with other revenue streams. We'd also like to thank our mentors, incredible amount of knowledge and help, Abigail Jones and Nicole Presley, and then of course the StartBlue team, everybody involved. We are academics trying to think about business. So this has been an awesome journey.
And what we are looking for a little bit of support today, we want to basically found a little bit of business mentorship to help us create our own entity. As well as get some funding to be able to have 3 full-time employees. We would like to be able to also be able to scale Fjord Fido out of the Antarctic ecosystem into other ocean basins, as well as also scale to other ships that are in the Antarctic ecosystem currently.
So we hope you join us at the frontier of polar science. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Questions? My question, Viking is giving you some funding. What was that for? And do you envision that there's a subscription there, like with their travelers pay extra when they get on the ship? And will that be something that you see happening in the next year or so? Or what's that pathway? Because that's a big win.
Yeah. Yeah, so Viking has given us a little bit of funding to be able to expand past the project that we have currently. So we have another subsidiary called Genomics at Sea that allows us to do all of the actual collections and then processing and sequencing all while at sea, and then continue to produce results while we're actually in the ocean, just limiting the amount of samples that we need to travel back to the university here and then do analysis further here.
I think, yeah, their business model too is to make hybrid expedition vessels that all the COVID PCR labs that were keeping humans healthy we're converting into genomics labs that we can do this sequencing, not wait till we get the samples back at home. So I don't see all the operators going to that model, but there is definitely interest from operators to see that value that it brings to their guests, their clients. So their feedback from that.
So definitely capability to scale up if they have a footprint for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next team is Green Water Scientific. Here we go. Wow.
Good evening. I'm Dhruv Mehta, and I'm the founder of Green Water Scientific, and we're a company that's bringing oxygen back. Now, before I get to the how, I'd like to start with the why. My family grew up in one of the most polluted cities in the world, New Delhi in India. And one thing that drastically separated my childhood from that of my parents was that during the months of winter, starting 2016, our government would shut down the schools in New Delhi for a couple of weeks because the air outside is simply so unbreathable. And if anything, I would definitely like my kids to have a childhood that my parents did, and definitely not what I did. Except this problem doesn't exist in one part of the world or in one city. Over 90% of the population today breathes air that is considered toxic by WHO standards. And also the CDC quotes that the cost to American businesses annually due to lost productivity, increased sick absences, and just overall degrading physical and cognitive health is $20 to $70 billion. We conducted some carbon dioxide tests in our own offices and found out that every day without fail, as soon as the clock starts 9, the CO2 starts increasing. And as soon as more people come in, start having disagreements and the volume of conversations go up, the CO2 basically doesn't come back down until 6 p.m. when everybody leaves and the office is just left to be until the next morning. So we came up with the Green Water Home. It does everything that existing air purifiers do, coupled with photosynthesis. This allows more oxygen that offsets deforestation, carbon capture that offsets urbanization, and also global cooling that, in essence, offsets global warming. How does it work? You simply have to plug in the Green Water Home, set your preferences for the inflow and the outflow of air, essentially, depending on how much fan noise you want in your room or how much fresh oxygen you want in your room. And then every 3 months, you have to take out 5 minutes to replace the algae and you're good to go again. How does this compare to existing solutions for air purification? HEPA filters and HVAC, while they capture contaminants and are relatively low maintenance, they do not photosynthesize the air, they do not capture carbon emissions, and they also don't fit in with your decor. They're pretty much a sitting reminder that the world is about to end. Plants and trees, on the other hand, do not capture contaminants and need a significant amount of work to keep them alive, and you have to worry about them when you step out for vacations. Algenair, on the other hand, is one other company that is building algae-based home air purifiers starting 2018 or 19, except they've under-engineered their product to a point where half the times under common indoor temperatures, it simply doesn't work because they haven't controlled and monitored the algae's environment itself. The Green Water Home, on the other hand, is all of these things, and it can also be used as a coffee table. To sum it up, an ancient product that dominates a $16 billion in its industry. We call it ancient because it has seen little to no innovation since the 70s. Along with 3 times the efficiency of our only direct competitor, along with our proprietary technology around controlling the algae's environment and increasing the efficiency of the product, we get the Green Water Home. Our target markets in decreasing order of product market fit include the air purifier market, which we easily believe we could soon be dominators in. Anybody who's bought an existing Honeywell or Dyson air purifier should rationally switch to a Green Water Home immediately. The carbon capture market, on the other hand, is one we can definitely capture a significant portion of. However, there are other companies capturing carbon in their own wonderful ways. And the health and wellness market, while our product is directly related to your personal health and wellness, it still varies with everything from skincare to emergency and pharmaceutical supplies. So yes, we expect to get a fraction of that. Our beachheads would include parents with young children because, yes, you tell somebody this is good for your baby's health, they'd almost immediately buy it. Wellness and yoga enthusiasts because they're more mindful about the air that they breathe, their heart and physical health in general, and also commercial real estate developers because they are the one customer segment who have a huge financial incentive to buy our products too. Essentially, our product would allow them to increase the green rating of their buildings along with the occupancy health, which in turn allows them to charge a higher rent from their tenants. And we'll be starting with distribution in India as well as the United States. Our team includes myself. I'm a junior at UCSD and a student of engineering and design. Samir Mehta, my father, who's also in the audience right now, an industrialist with over 3 decades of experience. Steve Branford, who also happens to be our primary mentor at StartBlue, and has been working with us for about almost 1.5 years now. Sonu and Lovepreet are 2 wonderful engineers that we have, and Raghav is the person behind our social media campaigns. We started in September 2022 when upon finding out that 85% of the planet's oxygen, in fact, comes from oceanic plankton and algae. Essentially, the question that started it all was that why have people been telling us to grow more plants and trees than if we can just easily mimic the ocean in a box? And then the first year was around customer discovery, branding, as well as several prototypes and protecting our IP. Earlier this year, since getting into the StartBlue program, we've added an advisory board, built a high-fidelity prototype, and we were also the winners of the Triton Innovation Challenge. Over the next 6 months, we plan to go to market, 4th of July in the USA and the 15th of August in India, both of those being the respective Independence Days for the countries. And we also plan to hire people for marketing and B2B sales. Along with that, we also, towards the end of this year, want to start researching and developing our commercial installation for airports, hotels, and such, which is essentially going to be a wall-sized air purifier that allows us to capture carbon at a much larger scale. And yeah, starting right now, our target fund size is 3.54 million, out of which till date we've raised 0.3, which gives us an existing runway for 7 months. And this is how we plan to spend all of that, creating demand while ensuring the supply can support it, and also that we're legally protected while doing all of this. In essence, put all of that together, let's bring oxygen back.
Talk a little bit.
Sure. So the retail price for the Green Water Home itself right now is going to be $419 with a quarterly subscription of $14 every 3 months. And yes, those I mentioned are 2 B2C customer segments before, but we also, the commercial real estate developer angle is one where we anticipate a large purchase order within a short amount of time, and that is for the Green Water Home. Towards the end of this year, when we start developing a larger model, we also plan to be more significant in the carbon capture market, as well as places like airports and hotels. Oh, you meant on the supply side. Okay. So yeah, our manufacturing is being set up in the north of India right now, and our molds are currently under manufacturing, and we should be set up with all of that by the 30th of June, which would allow us a production capacity of about 400 to 500 units a day.
Yeah, I wanted to talk more about pricing, like how to.
Oh, okay. So as far as so the question was about the pricing as well as how much square footage the air purifier covers in terms of synthesizing the air. So essentially, as far as the price goes, Dyson on the one hand does sell their premium products for about $600 to $800 as well, and well, people buy them. Smaller companies, on the other hand, with smaller models, can even sell the HEPA filter-based air purifiers for about $150 to $200. So we've tried to kind of, while empowering the individual, not pricing them out, but also we do not want to be considered as, one of the less significant or smaller companies in the market, because it is a premium product quality-wise after all. So that's why we came up with the $419, kind of trying to maintain the balance between the two. As far as the coverage goes, as far as the contaminants and filtration, it's exactly that of any existing air purifier, except it also allows you to have the amount of fresh oxygen at 75 plants. So yes, if you put it in a bedroom or in an office, a world without 75 plants is always worse than one with. So that's kind of like how we think about the square footage. Of course, if it's a larger bullpen office area or something, you can even plug in one in each corner to further increase the air quality, but that's really up to the consumer. Mhm. Oh, so we're unsure about that with the home model itself, because while we are capturing carbon dioxide, you're right, it's kind of hard to monitor the sequestration on an individual level. The best we can do is get an estimate based on the amount of time it's been running for, et cetera. But when we go into the larger commercial installations, those groups and those models would allow us to capture that data, and also the dead algae biomass, et cetera, allowing us to get into alternate applications of carbon credits and the algae biomass itself. Of course.
I have a quick question. There are many types of algae.
Mhm.
So what can you tell us about the testing you've done on different algae or that you plan to do?
So we're using spirulina culture. Our primary debate came down to spirulina versus chlorella. Those two happen to be the ones that not only need a regular environment to thrive in, but also they're easy to source. In the sense that, for instance, for spirulina, we found somebody in the west of India who has a huge farm of algae and can, help us with a lot of supply. So yes, based on the ease of sourcing them, as well as their photosynthetic rate and the conditions they need to stay alive, and we narrowed down to spirulina. Mhm.
Thank you.
All right, our next team is New Tides Distillery.
Thank you. I apologize. I lost my voice the other day, so it's coming back. So luckily I can at least speak a little bit to you. I'm coming from New Tides Distillery. I'm the chief scientist there. My name is Brad Abramson, and I'm going to tell you how we can all save some fresh water by drinking the ocean. So the problem right now is that fresh water is scarce, and the distilling industry itself uses a lot of fresh water that gets basically poured down the drain at the end of it. And consumers want sustainable products these days, and so we think that we can offer that. Well, we know we can offer that. And we think that the consumer is willing to pay a little bit to have a more sustainable product. So what's unique about us and why you don't hear of any other distilleries using ocean water is, one, we're on the coast, which is great. But two, we've developed a proprietary strain of yeast that we can use in the distilling process. So the distilling process, basically, you make a beer, so an alcoholic beverage that's about 10% alcohol, and then you distill it and you collect the ethanol and you leave all that fresh water behind and basically pour it down the drain to get recycled in whatever municipality is going to do that. So it's estimated that it takes about 37 liters of fresh water to make 1 liter of vodka, or bourbon in this case. And that's not a number that I made up. That comes from the Kentucky Bourbon Association. So in the total United States, about 177.6 billion gallons of water is used in this process or discarded. So what we're doing is we're creating a 100% seawater-based vodka and eventually a vodka-based seltzer. And what we can do is preserve 100% of the fresh water that's used in this process, while also providing a pleasantly flavored vodka for you. So why are we even here? I mean, there's plenty of distilleries out there. Most of them don't have any water saving initiatives, or they have water saving initiatives that are written something like, we're going to save X% in 2050, which, we'll see if that actually happens. We can actually save 100% of the fresh water right now today. We're gaining traction, not just through these wonderful programs and experiences, but also in the distilling industry itself. We started out with our only source of funding so far, which is from the American Distillers Institute for a research grant to actually come up with this idea and make it feasible. As well as we've kind of generated kind of our business model through the StartBlue program. After that distilling research grant, then we're actually invited to give a presentation at the Sustainability Summit at their conference in Las Vegas last year. Through StartBlue, we've done a lot of consumer feedback and actually tried to, we validated kind of what our consumer is and where we want to go with our products. especially since technically you're not our consumer. Our consumer is the establishment that you're going to buy from. We've addressed kind of what our market share might be, and focused on kind of the two different competing demographics that our two products would go towards. One being a vodka, which is more of a refined kind of older generations type beverage, as opposed to seltzers, which are younger and kind of more targeted towards a sustainability kind of partying crowd. As we have some demos out front, you'll see that we don't have a ton of alcohol present, and I probably shouldn't even say that out loud because there were signs up there saying not to bring in alcohol, but we are the only provider of alcohol for this venue. So see us afterwards for some samples. We do have plans to scale up, starting with working with local distilleries. We've talked to a bunch of them and they're all interested in helping out. It's a super collaborative environment. Starting just locally in the San Diego area, then going statewide. Going nationally is a lot harder because there are only 3 national distributors in the United States right now. So kind of our projections for scaling. What we're trying to do is we are asking for 200,000, and that goes towards raw materials. We all know that inflation has skyrocketed the costs of ingredients and consumer goods, as well as packaging. And we're aware that this field, the distilling industry, alcoholic beverages, is very marketing heavy. So we have to kind of define ourselves in that area and make sure that the consumer knows that they're getting a sustainable product that they can't get anywhere else, as well as our legal fees as to generate a patent for this. Through our StartBlue, we had amazing mentors, Chris and Carolyn, who met with us, who guided us, who gave us tons of knowledge that, you know, we couldn't get anywhere else. So some of our accomplishments through the StartBlue programmers, we have actually finalized our partnership with the local distillery. Like I said, we've kind of found our customer base. We've finalized our recipe, so you can try it out there. Who we are, I'm the Chief Science Officer, kind of behind the science behind this, as well as we have James, who will be here a little bit later, and he's more of the business side, and then Casey, who does all of our marketing and makes these wonderful images and slides. And thank you so much. See me afterwards if you need something.
Consumption on the big focus otherwise. So I guess I'm thinking kind of use what 16 ocean water versus ocean, right? So how does that balance?
Yeah, so luckily enough, Scripps has purified water on tap that we can access for free. So that's great. So it is purified. We have done tests with Mission Bay ocean water, which is obviously not the cleanest, and we didn't refine it, filter it, or anything like that. So we can use dirtier water. We probably just want to do some more tests after that. This is the clean stuff though. But yeah, we've also talked to the FDA and the TTB, which are the governing bodies for kind of health and safety and taxation of alcohol. And so we're working with them to make sure that everything is safe.
I had a similar question on your source of seawater, but what you think that the need might be at the scale in terms of access to seawater supplies.
Yeah, well, I'm in favor of having oceanfront property for the distillery. So, you know, I mean, this would be a great facility. Maybe Caroline's wants to partner or. Thank you.
All right, we have 2 more teams. Our next team is Barley Labs. Barley Labs, sorry.
Hi, I'm Brian. This is Marvin from Party Labs, and we're here to introduce you to the Mollusk, a low size, weight and power module enabling proliferation of commercial and defense communication and sensing applications in contested areas. Our background over the last 15 years, we've supported NASA, SpaceX safety and mission assurance program, as well as national defense strategy. And we have developed and built maritime ISR systems for the Navy. 4 years ago, we left to start Parley Labs to help build and support Web3 projects, one of which is called the Helium Network. It's the largest global wireless network built today. And you may think that these two industries are completely separate, defense and Web3, but combined together, they enable the ability to solve some really hard problems. Every year, illegal fishing steals over $23 billion from the global market. And it's especially prevalent in the South China Seas. It destroys fish populations, threatening food security, and continues to destroy critical marine ecosystems. Now, how do we enable and empower local fishermen to be able to report in real time this illegal activity so that something could be done with this? How can it be addressed, especially if there's very little infrastructure? It's not feasible to put Starlink or Iridium on every one of these boats. They just can't afford it. And it's not scalable. So that brings us to the Mollusk. The Mollusk is going to enable more communication and reporting in real time, leveraging the Helium network, which is a global low-power terrestrial network capable of sending messages within 70 kilometers of offshore. And this is a public network that is built for the Internet of Things. And you can find this network globally here in the US, in the Philippines, in Taiwan. And we're here to build the hardware and software that can enable sensors to take advantage of this network. And why? So that we can enable the fishermen to report on all this activity where they've just never been able to do that before. So our solution reduces the cost of connectivity by an order of magnitude and enables scalability that just isn't possible. Compared to Iridium short burst messaging, it's 10 times cheaper to send a message on this network, 5 times less power. Combined with Edge AI, we're able to send more critical data with less bandwidth. And because of this, we can enable more fishermen to send more reports to attack this problem.
As we embark on our StartBlue journey, we wanted to find applications that suited our background and then also our product. But we wanted to do so in a commercial market that is outside of defense. So we used the OKR process, and throughout that process, we went to a total of 8 conferences, conducted 40 interviews, and analyzed 10 research reports. Through this iterative process, we were able to gain insight as to the types of problems that this industry is trying to solve. Our traction so far is we started Party Labs in 2019, and in 2022, we're serving 40,000 customers worldwide. We were a steering member of the Helium Foundation, and we were looking for government applications with the Defense Innovation Unit. In 2023, we were a finalist in the T-Mobile Web3 T Challenge. And after 4 failed attempts, we were awarded with our first SBIR with the Army at the end of 23. At the beginning of 24, we started the StartBlue program. And everything that we learned within this program, we leveraged in order to win a SOCOM Disruptor Award, which is highly competitive. Our path forward is to continue engaging with StartBlue and the Blue Tech community, execute our Army Phase 1 SBIR, execute our SOCOM Phase 1 award, and continue customer discovery for commercial applications. This is our team, Brian and myself, Marvin, and we'd like to take this opportunity to thank our mentors, Neil, Chris, and Luke. You guys were amazing throughout this process. couldn't have done it without you, whether it's letting us know the ins and outs of the blue tech industry, or even having impromptu meetings with us on conference floors. Our ask is that we're looking for opportunities to connect with potential customers and find partnerships for collaboration. And we'd like to thank StartBlue for giving us the opportunity to be part of Cohort 3. Here's our contact information if you'd like to learn more.
You guys are a true kind of dual use technology, you use the DoD vernacular. You're using DoD funding and then addressing a commercial, use case where there wasn't a lot of funding. Can you speak a little bit more about how that DoD funding is coming together, and where that might take you to address other commercial opportunities in the market?
Yeah, so the DoD funding is looking first from a tactical perspective of how to leverage this network. But in that, they are also looking at the illegal fishing from a political perspective. So there is some overlap in that. And so that's kind of how it bridges. And so we were looking to build the technology that we could then take into like non-fishing, more just sensing applications as well. And that's really the point of what we try to bring here with the StartBlue process.
Another key advantage is, they're paying for us to build a product, and then that product we can test to see if there's viability in commercial markets. And then, if very successful, then you get economies of scale, and it drives down the cost. So everyone wins on the government side, the commercial side, public side, et cetera. So proliferation is really the key here.
I have a question for you, because right now, everyone use some hotspot, and how do you plan to put that hotspot on the ocean?
So it's a terrestrial network, but along the shores, it's been shown that you can actually have devices out to 70 kilometers. Obviously depends on how the configuration is and the antenna and the product, but there's some applications in the nearshore space.
It also doesn't need to, if it's really far out, it doesn't necessarily need to be in real time. But it'll be slightly delayed, or you can leverage edge AI, or if it's really critical, then you will have an internet backhaul that's accessible in the ocean. So there's a lot of options there, but our primary driver is like the whole idea of low swap. So we want the most people to benefit from the technology, but of course there's more expensive options that we can go through if it's really that critical. Mm-hmm.
So that's part of some of the government funding that we're going to look at, is how to leverage this network, not just in itself, but how to leverage it in addition to additional networks, or make it interoperable with other things. So that's part of the research that we'll be doing.
Edge AI.
No, so it's being able to process more data, not increasing the throughput. So throughput is still limited by the RF and physical throughput, but being able to not yet. It's equivalent to Iridium short burst messaging. Yeah. Thanks.
The ability to communicate with illegal fishing that's trashing the economy for everyone else, and bolstering China's and ruining the ecosystems. First question, when they report this in real time, what's going to be done about it? And two, how are you going to stop China from doing it?
So that is some work that we'll be doing with our DoD partners. A lot of it is, how do you report it and bring it to light before you can do anything about it, and tackling that versus like highlighting how much is, what's seen is that it's he said, she said a lot of times. So how do we highlight it so that it's okay, yes, we're doing it, and stop us? And I think that becomes more of a political game at that point. That is a very hard
That is
question.
outside of our.
Thank you.
And our next and final team is Wild Genomics.
Hello, everyone. I'm Bilge from Wild Genomics. We ensure crop health by providing precision pest monitoring through air environmental DNA sequencing. Pests are one of the biggest challenges for farming industry, even more so with the climate change. They do reduce crop yield up to 40% annually. And if you were to look at a specific example, look at that specific example. In Florida alone, one pest species reduced the orange output by 84%. As a solution, pesticides are being used generously, but they come at a high cost. They do reduce the not only the pests, but also targets the pollinators and beneficial insects, and that come at a high cost for our food security. The key when dealing with pests is to get in the picture as early as possible. So we, as Wild Genomics, are locating ourselves at the prevention stage of this invasion timeline. By providing continuous monitoring, we help farmers with early detection of their pests in their fields, and that helps them with reduced costs for mitigation, as well as with precise information. In terms of the competitive landscape, you can see us at the top right with our technology combining air sampling and DNA barcoding, as opposed to the traditional ways of monitoring and detecting the pests, such as visual detection as well as trapping. Our technology allows for much larger and wider range of pests being detected, as well as with higher level of precision down to the species level. Why us? We are a team with a wide range of experience and expertise. My co-founder, Eirik, he's a business lead, and he brings to the team more than 15 years of experience in life sciences. I am the technical lead, and I bring my expertise in environmental DNA sequencing, as well as building machine learning algorithms for sequencing platforms. We are very lucky to have support from our strategic advisor board, consisting of Dr. Lyons, professor at UCSD, as well as Dr. Ana Maria Moreno, founder of a local biotech company. We have support from our business advisors from Rady School of Management, as well as our wonderful mentors from StartBlue, Greg and Joseph. In terms of the market size, we're looking into the economic losses caused by pests globally, but we position ourselves in the global smart pest monitoring management system, of which in North America alone, it's expected to grow to 300 million in the next 5 years, and we're aiming to get 10% of that market share. In terms of the beachhead market, we're looking into specialty crops such as citrus and others. So this is our service design. We at Wild Genomics, we send our prototype samplers to the farmers. The farmers collect the air samples, and then they mail them back to us. And then we take those samples to the lab, we sequence them, and then we feed the data back into the web app the farmers can access to, and they can look at things like what pests they have in their field, what's the distribution across different parts of the field, as well as some tailored guidance, how they can manage these pests. In terms of our revenue streams, we're charging our clients based on per sample, as well as the monthly subscription fee, which allows them to access to these app, and as well as the device rental. Going forward, our biggest assets is the data that we will accumulate, and so that's also part of our revenue stream. We've gotten quite a bit of traction so far through these wonderful institutions, including StartBlue. We've raised in non-dilutive funding 61,000 so far. And we're also very lucky to work with these amazing beta customers. So we're working with an avocado farmer, as well as a coffee grower here in California, and a soybean grower in Iowa. This is our ask. We're asking for $1 million, which is going to give us 18-month runway. And we're planning on spending this funding for market validation and launch, customer acquisition, as well as device refinement and patent applications. Since joining StartBlue, we've gotten far. We got awarded the California CARES grant in the beginning of the year. We've done a couple of field visits and sample collection. We finally started in our for our lab R&D work, and we also gotten a few awards through the pitch competitions we were part of. As our next step, we're planning on incorporating next month and also applying to an SBIR phase 1, for which we already passed the pre-pitch application phase. Thank you very much. And thank you.
I'm curious as to what sequencing platform you're using and what the turnaround time is from a farmer sending the sample and receiving actionable data back.
Great question. Currently, we're using nanopore sequencing, which is a portable sequencing platform. Basically gives us the advantage of like real-time sequencing and just being able to do it in-house. In terms of like from the time we receive a sample, we're estimating 48 to 72 hours for the data to be fed into the app, the web app.
What's your technology application of the brain aquatic environment? If it does have that, are you able to use your technology to detect the settings for viruses in the environment?
Very good question. Actually, before we started kind of thinking about farming industry, my initial idea was ballast water monitoring, because there's all these ships basically in the LA port and San Diego port, and they're bringing these invasive species probably from around the world, and nobody's necessarily monitoring that. But then I wasn't sure who would pay for that, so I'm still kind of thinking about that idea. But that's one application when it comes to the marine industry.
Do you have a sense for what percentage of the environmental community of interest is airborne versus found in the soil? Is there a sufficient amount that would be applicable to the farming community?
That's a very good question. So that requires us to do some side-by-side comparison, right? Our competitors, there's a lot of them that do soil microbiome sampling in terms of the eDNA. Not many people, tap into the air eDNA. So we would actually need to complement our sampling, air sampling, with the soil microbiome and then make a comparison. But I don't have a direct answer right now to that question. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Really well done, everyone. And let's give everybody a round of applause. I'd like all the teams, the mentors, and the StartBlue staff to stand, because you all have done a tremendous job supporting this group. So now I think I'm gonna need some help to give some instructions on how you vote for your favorite team.
Yeah. So this is super easy, actually. Get to it. Okay, super easy. If you take out your phone, scan this code, and you can vote for your favorite presenter. And the winner will get a small award that we'll let you know about later. So I'm gonna give you all just a couple minutes to vote. Check the results. 2 minutes.
Okay. Finish early. My only request is you put your phone down and you talk to anybody around you don't know. Network, you get to know people, you all love the environment and the ocean, that's why you're here. Good luck.
Yeah, that's
Give a group shot. Okay, but she's announced TMA membership. Oh. Okay.
So after we do the audience, I should say,
Okay.
Okay, if we can come on back. We have a winner. And I'm pleased to announce the winner of our Audience Choice Award is Fjord Fido. So I will, we'll get some pictures of you. Congratulations to everyone on your wonderful presentations. It is my pleasure also to be able to announce to all of our teams, current and alumni, that we are offering each of you a one-year membership in TMA Blue Tech. TMA Blue Tech is the local Blue Tech cluster who has reached both locally and globally. They have a brand new membership program for this year, so our startups will receive 12 months of support that includes visibility to the community, as well as the opportunity to participate in all the wonderful events that TMA does, and the ability to post jobs on the TMA jobs portal. You know, several of our teams mentioned they're looking for team members. So this is an exciting opportunity. And again, this is for both of our current cohort as well as our previous cohorts. So great opportunity for everyone. And we thank TMA and all of our partners for all of their support throughout the program. We will have our application for our next cohort coming up in early fall. So look for more information there. If you want to stay in touch, be sure to scan this QR code and sign up for updates. We'll send out information on our next cohort and everything that's happening and any updates, as was mentioned earlier, with our NOAA grant as well. So sign up for updates and you'll be the first to know. And with that, we'd like to say thank you all so much for being here tonight. We invite you to join our reception. We have some great food outside, and take some time to come and meet all the teams. You saw they have tables out there and are here to answer questions. So thank you again for your partnership and support during this past year.